Hello and welcome to 1861, the North Central College podcast. This is episode 11 of the podcast, and we are so thrilled to welcome Dr. Jennifer Smith. Jenny, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Big fan of the pod.
I love it. You'll have to listen to yourself for the next walking tour, right?
That's right.
That's
good.
When I
listen.
That's good. That's good. Jenny, you are the Assistant Provost for Student Success and Engaged Learning, Professor of English, and Acting Writing Center Director. Do I have that all right? Correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So on this episode, we will delve into some of the many things that Jenny does on campus. But Jenny, let's let people get to know you a little bit first. Tell us, by way of introduction, who are you? Where do you come from? What are you doing at North Central?
Really great questions. Great liberal arts questions. Who am I and what is my purpose and why am I here? These are questions I love to talk about with students. I am a Hoosier. I was born in Mishawaka, Indiana, near South Bend. My parents still live in the house I grew up in.
Nice.
They're celebrating 50 years this December.
Congratulations.
I know. Hey, Jim and Michelle. Really amazing family. I am a first-generation college student. So my parents graduated high school, but it was really important to them that their 3 children went to college, and they were able to do that. So very proud member of Cardinal First. My grandparents, I grew up 4 houses down from my grandparents. My grandmother only got the opportunity to go to 3rd grade.
Wow. Think about that.
She was an older daughter. She had to stay home and take care of her younger siblings. My grandfather got to go all the way to 8th grade before he had to stay back and work on the farm. So if you want to know what drives me and brings me to school every day, it's that and them, my parents and my grandparents, and the ways they made me love and appreciate learning and opportunities they didn't get to have, but they wanted to make sure that their children and grandchildren did.
Yeah.
I am the product of big state schools. So I went to Ball State for my undergraduate, majored in English and German. And then for graduate school, I went on to Indiana University, stayed in Indiana, did my master's and PhD at IU, and they just won the national championship, which was definitely not on the agenda when I was a student there. They were like giving away the football tickets when I was a student there.
Yes.
So I'm a product of big state schools, but I have spent my career in small liberal arts colleges. North Central is my institutional home. It's my favorite job I've ever had. I came here in 2020. I accepted the job, I guess it's probably 2 weeks before COVID.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
I had a lovely visit before then. It was a blizzard. I drove up from Indiana. I was teaching at Franklin College in Indiana before this. I drove up from Indiana, a blizzard, had a wonderful interview with the English department. I was hired in to be the chair of the English department in 2020. And they offered me the position. And then 2 weeks later, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I came
6 years ago
in the midst of it. Yeah. 6 years ago.
6 years.
6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Best career decision I've ever made, though. It's been an incredible place to work, to teach, to have community with colleagues. So I've been here 6 years, and in that time, I've been chair of the English department, taught a lot of classes, and the director of general education, directed the writing center, and now this year I get the privilege of being assistant provost for student success and engaged learning.
We're thrilled, selfishly thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you, Jenny. Thank you for that. And so you mentioned that you teach. Why? Why do you teach?
I fell in love with learning. I was actually not a very good high school student. I was like good enough to be not that serious about it. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, I didn't always do my homework. I didn't always read the books. I was like smart enough to kind of skate by and be fine. And then I went to Ball State, and I had an incredible opportunity at Ball State there to study away. And that really changed my life. So I did a semester in England and then a full year in Germany. And in Germany, to study English, you have to be able to read French and Latin.
Oh boy. Wow.
So I had to be the American in the room that would raise their hand and be like, I don't read French. And the German students would be like, what? But it made me so curious, and it made me want to work at a higher level, to ask bigger questions. There was just such a love and attention to language, to learning, that really inspired me to go to graduate school. And really, to be honest, initially it was the learning that brought me into the profession. I just wanted to know more. I wanted to pursue more. I wanted to read more. And then once I was in the classroom, I fell in love with teaching. But it was almost like the learning and the reading brought me to teaching, and the teaching has been what has sustained me the last 20 years. So it's been incredible to be able to share that love for literature, for language, for the power of storytelling with students across my career. Yeah. And that's why I teach, for the students, and to share that kind of passion for language.
You mentioned the word curious, and curiosity is one of the words in North Central's mission statement.
Yes.
How does that curiosity empower learning?
It's everything. I know it's not a popular sentiment, especially for the parents of prospective students, but college is not the end of one's education. It is like not really the beginning, but it's the start of everything else, everything that comes after childhood. And so if we can inspire curiosity, inspire students to keep asking, well, why is that? What is that? What don't I know about that problem or that question? That will sustain them throughout their careers, throughout their personal relationships, their search for meaning in this life. Curiosity is really everything. We have to stay open to learning what we don't already know. And I've been humbled in every position I've held to be like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that. And what I don't know about something makes me curious. Like, how could I be in this space, in this world, in this work, and not know that yet, and not know, so that part is so important to the work we do.
And speaking of the work that we do, I mentioned at the top of the show here, assistant provost, student success, and engaged learning.
Yes.
And so I promised that we would delve into that.
Yes.
What is engaged learning, and what is the connection to student success?
Engaged learning is really kind of a shorthand for the types of teaching practices that inspire students to be lifelong learners. So engaged learning can refer to how we approach learning in the classroom, something like community engaged learning or service learning. That's what it was called when I was in college.
Yes.
It can be study away. It can be undergraduate research or student research broadly. It's not just undergraduates that do that work. It's really the kinds of practices that in higher education we've come to call high impact practices. So it's not really like we have majors and we have general education, but it's a way of approaching the learning process that scholars of learning, teaching and learning have been able to show stays with the student beyond just a single course.
Yes.
That these are the courses and experiences, projects that students do that they carry forward into their life and work, that shape them. Even back when I was in college, we didn't call it high impact practices at the time, but I was taking this 20th century American poetry class, and the professor said, I don't really remember, she was, ancient, now my age probably, but like what I am now, she was then. I was like, oh, how can she even remember college? But she said in that 20th century American lit class, I don't really remember the books I was assigned, and even some of my professors, unfortunately for her, I hope they remember us more. But I remember the things I did, the papers I wrote, the projects I worked on, the things that I poured my heart into, my time into. And so, we weren't calling it high impact practices or engaged learning when I was in college, but it's those kinds of things, those sustained inquiry that we do. And then the other half of my role is the student success piece. And the hope is that these two things aren't really two halves of a whole, but totally integrated in the student's experience. So student success refers to all of the things we do at North Central to support students, from advising, peer tutoring, student disability services, and ease barriers, making sure that students have the resources and support they need to learn, that their needs are met. And really the vision for this position is that we bring these things together. We make sure students have the conditions to learn, and then that we push them in their learning so that they can carry it forward into the rest of their lives.
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned high impact practices, and that can be a big, heavy set of words, a big, heavy concept for somebody in high school. Delve a little bit further. What does it mean for the high school student out there, or maybe even the community college student who's thinking about North Central? What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question. So in 2008, a scholar named George Koo came up with a list of 10 things that colleges that engage their students do. It includes things like the first year seminar, living learning communities, senior capstones. So in 2008, he had 10, and he said colleges that do these 10 things tend to produce students who are curious, are good critical and creative thinkers. Like both of those things, we can think critically and creatively, that are problem solvers.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about high impact, it's high impact on the student and high impact on their learning, kind of both of those things. So that came out in 2008, and it revolutionized higher education, or it gave language to what we already knew was happening, but now there was research and support and language around it. Small liberal arts colleges like North Central really, this is what we do. This is what we're so good at. Is small classes with tons of faculty mentorship, supporting students in really deep learning. So that's another way of thinking about deep learning. Then in 2013, they released a new study, and they said, these are all great, but how do you bring them to scale? We know that one professor can create a service learning course that's amazing. How do you make sure that hundreds of students get the opportunity to do a community engaged learning project? How do you bring all these things into practice? And at that time, they expanded. They added one more to the list, and they added e-portfolios. I think any kind of portfolio, anything where a student shows the range and breadth of their work in college, can be a high impact practice. Here at North Central, we do 9 of the 11. We have them embedded in our curriculum. We make it really easy for students to get access. And that goes to that scale piece. So we know that there can be a single professor experience that does this, and it's amazing, but we want to make sure that as many of our students as possible get to experience close faculty mentorship in deep sustained learning environments. And we built that into our general education curriculum, and we built it into our programs, our majors and minors. So if you're a high school student or a community college student thinking, do I want to go to North Central or another place? I think a question is, do you love to take on big projects, to be mentored, to learn, to push yourself in new ways? If the answers to those are yes, we are an excellent choice.
Jenny, you know very well, I know very well that there are some who call into question the value of a college degree today. And that's unfortunate in so many ways. But as I hear you talk about high impact practices, how that is integrated across the student experience here, I have to believe that there are benefits, for long-term benefits, for a student who really immerses themselves in that. But what are some of those benefits? Why is it a distinguishing characteristic to have gone through a place like North Central and be exposed to high impact practices?
Totally. Our president, GP, likes to talk about the unscripted future.
Yes.
We don't know what the future holds. We don't.
Yeah.
I was an English and German major 20 years ago, right? More than now.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, right?
Yeah.
That's all you're going to get out of me.
So here I am in 2026, and the last 2 years of my professional life have been absolutely rocked by artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yes.
AI is everywhere. It's in the discourse. It's in my life. It's in my students' work. It's in how are we going to teach? How are we going to write? I mean, my world,
Yes.
the thing I trained to do has been absolutely transformed by something I didn't know existed 5 years ago, or at least not in this form. Like, even if I knew artificial intelligence, I thought it was going to look more like something sci-fi out of a sci-fi novel, right?
Yep.
And here it is. It's come to revolutionize how I do my work every day. Now, there isn't a class I took on that, but I learned how to think so that when I encountered it, I knew how to respond. I knew how to integrate it where it's meaningful. I knew how to resist it where it's not. I knew how to ask questions about the ethics, its implementation, who uses it where, what kinds of knowledge does it produce, who gets included, who gets excluded. And that's what happens in a high impact practice classroom and in courses that center high impact practices. We learn to ask those bigger questions. We're training our brain to think. And if you train your brain to think, to ask questions, you're prepared for whatever comes next in that unscripted future. And the data bear that out. Students who pursue this kind of education have longer, better paying, more fulfilling careers. Now, there are some really concrete steps students can take to get that first job to be a great one. Things like internships, building their network of faculty mentors, working early in the job process. So we have a career readiness requirement at the college too. That's another high impact practice that we've embedded for every student. And so for those students who are transfers, maybe thinking about coming here, this is a good thing to know. We've embedded that in the curriculum. Whether you come here as a first year or a transfer, every student takes career readiness at North Central College. We have instruction on how to prepare for the job search and in doing a job. So we do both. Those experiences have been shown to result in better post-grad outcomes immediately. And then the liberal arts part of our identity will take students into the future so that 25 years out from their graduation date, they're prepared for whatever comes next. I mean, my daughters will do jobs that do not exist today. How do you educate someone for a job that doesn't yet exist? You give them all the necessary skills, and you give them, to go back to our earlier refrain, curiosity.
There it is.
Yeah.
Powerful word, powerful thought. So you talked about career readiness. What might a student expect to experience in career readiness at North Central?
So we break it down in two ways. We have a career readiness preparation, and then we have a career readiness experiential. Okay. So typically a student will, ideally in their sophomore year or junior year, take the career readiness preparation. They'll learn how to write the resume, do practice interviews, build a handshake account, a LinkedIn profile. They'll also do kind of bigger picture things like imagine 3 futures for yourself. You know, what would it be if my life was, I chose English professor, but what if I had chosen, TV writer, which is, another dream job, or, I don't even know, because I'm so far into this, but like we have our students think about what are like possible paths. What does it look like? What would you need to do in the next few years to be poised to go into those fields? So we ask kind of the big theoretical questions about a student's life. What are you good at? What kind of work environment do you want to be in? I think that's a question we don't talk enough about. Do you like to be more on your own? Do you like to work in a team? Yeah. Do you like to live in uncertainty, or do you like concrete tasks you can finish, right? Like, so we talk about like what kind of work do you enjoy and find meaningful? And then what are the careers that might go with that? Yep. Once those pieces are in place, students look for an experiential. Often that's an internship. So it's often a paid or unpaid internship. We love a paid internship.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Who doesn't?
Yes. Who doesn't?
So we love to see a student find and secure a paid internship. And then we also have some course-based experiences. I used to teach the literary magazine that comes for this requirement. Students edited, curated, published a literary magazine. It's a national magazine. It's been at North Central since the 1930s. We usually got like 300 submissions. So it was great for future writers and people who are in any creative industry. If you have 300 submissions and you have to decide on 50, how do you do that? What what do you look for? And you get to see like just how competitive the work is, how many good writers there are out there.
Yes.
So students can do a course-based experience like that. And then there are some programs where the expectations are higher and they've got a more intensive career readiness experiential. So here I think about areas like exercise science and sport management, where if you're going to go into those fields, you really need what's tantamount to a semester worth of experience. And so they've embedded that in their curriculum, and they have faculty who lead students through that process. It's really incredible.
I would imagine that speaks very much to parents, not only to students,
Yeah.
but parents, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of where society is today. Tell me how a student is prepared for life after college.
What am I going to do with it? I think that's probably the number one, like, okay, my kid's going to go to college for 4 or 5 years. What are they going to do afterwards? What are their future opportunities? How much will they make? How will I know that I'll get grandchildren someday?
Yeah,
like that is a
right.
sincere, like it
is,
right? Parents are thinking, how will I know my kid will have a secure future?
Yes.
That is my lights just turned off.
Snap, snap, snap.
I know. I'm in a motion sensor room. I think that's a sincere and real question. I think especially with the cost of higher education today, with the uncertainty of our economy, with the feeling like, this generation, we talk about it a lot in our amongst colleagues and with our fellow teachers, like students who are in our classrooms today were born in 2005.
Yeah.
So they came into consciousness post 2008 recession. And since then they've lived through other recessions, a pandemic, political and cultural upheavals. This generation has been through some stuff, and I think their parents are understandably concerned. Can this provide a stable future? What will it look like? And I get that. I'm a parent. You want what's best for them. You want them to find meaningful work that will sustain them financially, emotionally, everything. So we really understand that and value it. It's why we make everyone do something toward that goal.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned the word internship earlier, and it seems like that's a perfect subject to delve into a little bit as we talk about career readiness.
Yeah.
What is the value of an internship, and what do we do at North Central?
Absolutely. So nationally, they did a study in 2022. Nationally, students who had a paid internship were almost twice as likely to get a job offer after college than those who didn't. It's just really true. Work experience matters, especially, people are going into fields where there might be 40, 50, 100, 150 applicants for any job. Right.
That's right.
And so you have to have some experience, and then you have to be able to narrate it. And I think that's where the liberal arts piece is so valuable, because you can have the work experience, but if you can't explain to somebody else why it matters, why it was meaningful, and most importantly, how it will benefit your next employer. Right. It's not really that meaningful or valuable. So we really practice those skills with our students. We teach them how to do it. We practice, we give them feedback, and then we do it again. So I think the short answer is students who do internships are more likely to get that first job. They're more likely to get it faster, for it to be higher paying. But we know that internships aren't right for every field. There are some fields where research is more appropriate, where some other kind of applied learning is important. And we also know that we need to meet our students where they are. Some of our students have challenges with transportation, with hours. Like if you're a student athlete and you're in classes and you have to do an internship, that's a sincere challenge. So we try to make it as flexible as possible. If a student's doing a summer internship, we don't charge academic credit for that. They get a 0 credit hour course while they're doing their internship, and then they take the academic piece during the year. We've tried to reduce, and that's the student success part of my job. We've tried to reduce those barriers as much as possible so that we can give access to these opportunities for all of our students. I have to give a lot of credit to our colleagues in the Center for Career and Professional Development. They curate a set of resources, that all of our students can avail themselves of, and they're very accessible. So they do drop-in hours Tuesday to Thursday for 3 hours a day. If memory serves, forgive me if it doesn't. And then they've got the career closet. They do training. They will read your resume, the cover letter. We hire our students to be peer mentors in that career space. So some of our students get the opportunity to elevate their own career potential by teaching others. In teaching circles, we call that the giver's gift. When people teach, they get more.
Right.
And so students can do things like precepting, which is being like a teaching assistant in a class that carries that career readiness experiential, a great way for people to find out if they want to go into higher ed, teaching, instructional design, those kinds of opportunities. So we do a lot to make space for our students to find those opportunities and then be ready for them. And once they have them, be able to translate it to the next thing.
Sounds like another podcast topic for down the road at some point. There's a lot to talk about there.
There's so much there.
How is North Central's location an advantage when we think about internships?
I mean, it's an incredible gift.
Yeah.
Is Naperville the second or third largest city now in Illinois?
I think it's the third largest city in Illinois.
Next to Aurora, is our neighbor. And a lot of our students find internships in these local areas. So one of the cool ones I heard about just in the last couple of weeks is called Intern DuPage. And it's located out of Glen Ellen, which is where I live. It's like 20 minutes away.
Yes.
And they place interns with startups and small businesses. And they reached out because they're like, we want more North Central students. I mean, that's the kind of partnership that's possible here.
Yes.
Some of our English majors did internships with Source Books, which is the 6th biggest publishing company in the country. It is right here in Naperville.
Right in Naperville.
Right. We've got the corporate corridor with tons of opportunities for students in business and STEM right here. So that piece is really a gift. We're right in downtown Naperville. It's such a gift to be able to bring people to this campus, like our corporate and community partners. When they come, they see the value. And the thing they say, our external partners, when we bring in, these bosses from different companies in the area, they come to North Central and they're so impressed with our students' ability to shake a hand, explain their, story, tell their story, connect with them on a personal level. And every employer I talk to says, this is an incredible asset on the job market. The ability to be across from a person of authority and hold your own, have a conversation, talk with them. The direct personal relationship matters. And we do that really well. I mean,
that's not an accident,
you can't
right?
Avoid us. Yeah.
No, it's not an accident, right? No. That's the product of what happens in the classroom every day, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Even on the way over here, I ran into a writing center tutor on the Spine.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, what's up? Did you get that job I was your reference for? And she's like, I did. I'm going to be in Colorado this summer. And we got to chatting about it. And that's the kind of thing you get here. We are physically proximate. We are intellectually committed. That's right.
There's a difference in what happens here. And the more that students know about it, the better for their long-term benefit.
Yeah, I wish I had gone to a small liberal arts college. Like now that I've worked in them for my career, I'm like, I wish I had considered it more.
Well, you're paying it forward now, right? Jenny, you talked about undergraduate research earlier. Let's shift gears and talk about the value of research, which I believe is another one of those things that can really make a difference in one's undergraduate experience.
Yeah, 100%. Undergrad research is another one of those high impact practices. It makes the top 11.
There it is.
What's interesting about undergrad research is the way that it fuels graduation. Students who do undergrad research are more likely to graduate from college, full stop. Every study says so. The studies only disagree about how much more it matters. Sure. Is it that it increases graduation rates 20% or 25%, right? Like that's really where the scholarship is. It is such a difference maker. And at North Central, we have created an infrastructure of support for student research. So we've got our summer undergraduate scholarship program. This summer, 15 faculty will be mentoring about 40 students on research projects in STEM. So we'll have students in the lab. We'll have students helping our own Dean of Arts and Sciences, Stephen Caliendo, revise his book for the 4th time because he's very fancy and they keep wanting more issues of his book. So we got a team of students who will work with Dean Caliendo on revisions to this book that's taught in classrooms across the country.
Think about that.
I know.
Powerful.
You will have your name in a book that will go out to thousands of students across the country and thousands of scholars across the country. We've got some of our professors from languages looking for researchers. So it's an incredible sociology, art. There's one on ceramics that I'm really excited about. So research, I think a lot of times students will be like, okay, I'm in a lab and I'm wearing goggles, and like sometimes that's true. And sometimes it's all these other things. And so our definition of research is really capacious. So it includes creative expression, qualitative and quantitative research, really lots of modes to fit all the ways our students do their work here. And you can do research not just in your major, but across. So research doesn't have to be just in one's field. It can be across disciplines. And there's one woman, an art history major, who's been doing research in every topic. I think she's done 8 presentations. That's
wonderful.
An incredible example. So we've got the summer undergraduate research program. We also have grant-funded research support. Our faculty are incredible. We have nationally recognized faculty in their fields, and they win NSF grants. They win grants from NetView. So they're winning big national federal grants, and they're winning foundation-based private grants. And they're bringing students into their research that way. So that probably makes space for another 50 to 100 students each year to do research under faculty mentorship. It's really incredible. We have corporate and private donors who help support research through scholarships, through gifts to the college. So we match students with the intentions of our partners in that work. And then we've got course-based research. So there are courses at the college that integrate research into their very design, and that brings the research experience to more students too. But we love to see paid research because the benefits of paid research are such that students can focus on that. It'll elevate their CV or their resume, depending on where their next step is. And it gives them the opportunity to focus on that experience, and the dividends of that are profound. It gives students really the economic, social, and cultural capital to succeed in professional life. And I think that's the part that, to go back to where we started, that's the part that moves the graduation rate. Because students learn how to navigate bureaucratic systems, professional systems. They learn to communicate with a mentor. They learn to ask for help. Recently, we had the opportunity to hear some student researchers talk about the impact that research has had on their experience. And one of them shared that it helped him live with uncertainty. That before he had the experience, he looked for the neat or easy answer. But working on a long-term research project taught him it doesn't always work out. Or it works out in ways you didn't expect, or it takes longer for it to happen. And that learning to live with uncertainty has helped him to persist, to thrive, to seek new opportunities. And that's intangible.
It's really a beautiful assessment. What a beautiful assessment. It's incredible.
When he said that, I got tingles, that is the thing. That's the very thing we seek for our students. And it's the thing that helps people succeed in life. We don't know where our story ends. So how do we kind of live with that uncertainty and be open to what might happen and what might unfold? Research is really critical to that.
Jenny, it might be hard for a high school student, for example. I keep coming back to that because there's a bridge that somebody has to cross mentally, and they might think, scary, I could never do it. I can't imagine myself doing it. How would you help break down that self-imposed barrier around research?
Totally. I was that student. At 17, if you've been like, you can come to this college and sit across from a professor and work with them all summer, I would have been like, da, 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 da. Like,
Same.
I'll stay at
Terrified.
Subway, right? Like,
Terrified.
I'm fine,
Yep.
right? Like, they're too
Yes.
fancy. They're too smart. I don't understand the words coming out of their mouth. One thing that's hard for me to imagine probably about me is that I didn't talk the first 13 weeks of grad school because I thought everybody else was so much smarter than me. And it took one of my professors being like, I think you have things to say, but you're not saying them.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, everybody's so smart. He's like, they're not. They're just willing to talk. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So that faculty mentorship piece would make a difference. Has made a difference for me. But to get in the door, to break that barrier, I mean, I understand it. Even my nieces and nephews, I have a lot of college age nieces and nephews. They're like, oh, I want to like escape. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be known. And they come out of it, but they have to kind of be a little bit cajoled, a little bit pushed.
Yes.
And so we lightly push. And insofar as in our first year experience, another one of those high impact practices, we stop class for 2 weeks so that every student sits down with their professor for a mentorship meeting, for a conversation. And once we do that, the students feel so much more comfortable going to their other professors, right? We're just people. Like we're just, we're just people. And the difference is we care about our student success. We want to be there for you. We want you coming to office hours, seeking our help, asking for our guidance. I don't know if it's cultural. Maybe it's a Midwestern thing. I'm a Midwesterner, so I hope I can say this, but like students will often apologize for taking my time. I'm so sorry, but can I ask you for this? I'm like, you don't need to apologize. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Like, this is the job. It's my honor to do this job. Like, let me. So I would say that to the student, like, I get it. And if you can somehow push past it, the education you get will be so much richer, more profound, and it can lead to all kinds of professional things. Like the undergrad research I did led to my first publication. It took 6 years. Yeah. Like my senior capstone became my first publication, which set me on a course as a professor. But the work I did then was really laying the foundation for what came next.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a powerful testament to what we do here. Jenny, community engaged learning.
Yes.
It's another high impact practice. Yes. What is it?
Great question. It's where a student takes their knowledge learned in the classroom and uses it in partnership with a community partner, an external partner. Sometimes those community partners are here on our own campus, and sometimes they're external. So when I was teaching the literary magazine, we were the client of an art class called Design Agency, which is one of these community engaged learning classes. Design Agency is a class we offer that the professor runs like a graphic design firm. 2 or 3 students each get a client. So we were their client. Yeah. They came out and we did like an intro client meeting where like, here are our needs, here's our timeline, here's our budget. Mm-hmm. And then the designers went back to their space and they came up with 3 different covers for us to consider, and the typography and the book size and design. They brought it back and they did a presentation to my 35-person class. So we were their client. They helped us do the layout design of the book. So that's like an internal example. Externally, our community engaged learning courses are terrific and fantastic. So one example that I hold up is kind of a gold standard is Nicole Rivera's community psychology class.
Yes.
Student, I mean, she's amazing in about 4,000 ways.
Yes.
This class, I think, if somebody's like, I want to design a community engaged learning class, I'm like, this is an excellent example. So students in this community psychology class use the knowledge they've gained. It's a 300 level class. They use the knowledge they've gained in their psychology training, or especially around needs assessment, and they apply that to a community partner. So it's typically a nonprofit in the area who wants to understand some challenge they're facing, some constituency they serve. And the students get to design an assessment or evaluation of what is the problem, how are partners responding or constituents, and then they report it back to that community organization or nonprofit, and the nonprofit uses that to improve their practices. It's incredible.
It's a win-win.
Totally a win-win. It's an incredible thing. And a really key part of the community engaged learning experience is reflection.
Yeah.
That you reflect on the mutually beneficial relationship that happened, how the students' learning was deepened by using it and applying it and making something better or different, and how the community partner was benefited by learning with and from our students about their own practice. It's incredible. This is the thing our students say we do the best.
Yeah.
This is something they say we do really well. And we haven't talked a lot about it yet, but it really fills that other part of our mission, which is to create an ethical person, somebody who's going to uphold the common good, seek just answers to hard questions, because our lives are meant to be professionally fulfilling, personally fulfilling, but also civically engaged, mindful of the broader communities we serve and are a part of. So this piece is really impactful for students.
And Jenny, everything you described about the benefits of Naperville for internships applies here as well, right? Naperville is such a robust community with nonprofit organizations all over the place in all kinds of disciplines that are, in fact, they're looking for college students to do this kind of work.
They are. Yeah. So one really cool example, we've got a minor in TESOL, the teaching of English to speakers of other languages.
Yes.
And that group is going to be partnering with Literacy DuPage to offer conversation circles. And so our students get to practice, because TESOL really tends to be about adult learners, people at different stages of life, right? So we've got our kind of English language learner program for those that go into the K through 12 system. This is more for adult learners. And a lot of that work happens in these third spaces, in these community spaces. And so the students in that class get the opportunity to practice those skills. Many of them will go and live abroad at some point to put those into practice. It's a really cool experience for them. But that's one that I helped with this spring, connecting the professor with Literacy DuPage, getting them connected, finding out what our students were going to be able to bring, what the community needs are, and then, how does it all happen? So.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Well, Jenny, thank you. We could spend an entire afternoon talking about the work that you do, and frankly, grateful for everything that you and your colleagues are doing. It really is a powerful testament of what's happening here. But Jenny, as you know, there are some traditions on the podcast as we wrap up, and so I want to pose those questions to you.
Sure.
What is your first memory of North Central?
All right. This is controversial.
Good. I like controversy.
I interviewed for a job here in 2010.
Wow.
I was offered the job.
Okay.
And I did not accept it.
Yep.
Life took me in a different direction, but life brought me back.
Yes.
I got to meet at that time Jennifer Jackson. I interviewed with her. So when I saw the job come up in 2019, 2020, I was like, I know North Central. I know Dr. Jackson.
Yes.
Of course, so much time had passed at that point that she didn't really remember, because it had been a summer search. They were filling in for somebody who was going to be on leave, I think. So I took another position, but I always kind of had it in my mind. So I don't know if I believe that all things happen for a reason or there's fate, but I'm awfully glad that the universe brought me back to North Central. And I told GP this story, and he goes, we're better because you learned other places too. And I thought that was kind of cool that he can see both sides. We want people to be here, and we love what people bring to the college. So consider me a transfer student, if you would.
We'll take it. We're glad you're here. What has surprised you about North Central?
What has surprised me? I would say, as a this is an interesting one. So what has surprised me is how genuinely happy people are for each other, how happy we are for our students, how happy we are for our colleagues, how much we work around a shared goal. Yeah. How happy we are for each other, for ourselves, but like the joy we feel when others succeed is really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a great commentary about North Central. You mentioned your mom and dad earlier.
Yeah.
At the end of the podcast, we always give people an opportunity for shout outs.
Yeah.
And so this is your opportunity. The microphone is yours, so to speak. Shout outs.
There are so many folks I could shout out. And I talked about my parents and grandparents and Dr. Jackson, all of my colleagues in English, shout out. My partner in crime for a number of years was Sapna Jain. We directed the Speaking and Writing Center, coordinated first year writing and speaking together. And we just had lunch today. So Sapna, shout out.
Maybe another future podcast guest.
That's true. At some point we have to have a podcast, Jim, about Jim and I are in a years-long feud about the Oxford comma. So we'll have to, we could bring in a roundtable on that one.
I would love to do that. I would love to participate.
I think you can imagine where Jim and I fall on that conversation.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah. So those are some of the folks, but I also want to say my writing center tutors. If there are 12 nicer people on campus, I don't know about them. They are so committed, wonderful, lovely. And they're 12 now, and every year they've changed and they've always been wonderful. So all the writing center tutors I've been able to mentor over the years, really am grateful for them.
Great. Wonderful. Jenny, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time on the podcast. This is, I just so thoroughly enjoy having the opportunity to talk with the people who make North Central what it is. And you are no exception to that. What a joy to have this conversation with you today. Thank you again for everything that you do at North Central.
Oh my gosh, it's my absolute honor and pleasure. And I feel the same about you, Jim. Thank you so much for all you do for the college.
Dr. Jennifer Smith, Assistant Provost for Student Success and Engaged Learning, Professor of English, Acting Writing Center Director. We are so glad to have you. All of those things and so much more. Our guest for episode 11 of 1861, the North Central College podcast. Grateful to our listeners. Thank you for taking us along with you to get a deeper glimpse into the people who make North Central what it is. Thanks for listening.